Hey, good afternoon. This is JV Site Solutions. Today we're going to take a look at client script, right? So we're going to dynamically assign a group based on the uh, categorization of the incident, right? So what we're going to do is if the if it is hardware, right, we assign it to the technical support group. If it's database, we will assign that to the database team. So there's a couple of things to keep in mind here, right? So we're looking at the incident table, right, and we're looking at the category field, and then the choice of that, we're looking at the hardware and database choices. And then our target is going to be the assignment field, right? The assignment is the assignment group, and then the value that we're looking at is the technical support group and the database group. We're just going to go quickly into creating a client script, specifically a change onChange script. Um, and we have to keep a couple things into account, right? When you're setting a field, that's a reference field, because the assignment group is a reference field on the incident table that comes from the sys user group table. So let's just take a look and get started. Thank you. Um, so here we are. Let's just take a look at the we're looking at the incident table here. So we're going to take a look at our choices, right? We're going to use the database. It's going to change to the database team. Let's take a look at the we're going to take a look at the choices that we have on the incident table. So you have the actual value in there in lowercase. You have the database and hardware. Those are the two items that we're going to be using. So we could use that to create our client script, right? So here's the value that's important, right? The actual value, not the label. Hardware and database are the two. And we're going to use that information to create our client script, right? So, and here's the assignment group that we're looking at. As I mentioned before, this is a reference field from the name of the group that we're going to be using for hardware. And then when it changes to database, we want the group to automatically change to database. And if it's not any of those groups, we're going to clear that out, right? We want that empty if those are not the choices that we're using. So you could go for configure, then go into client scripts. As I said on the video, you just click new, and we're going to, well, you can name this whatever you want, right? So dynamic assignment of group, whatever's up to you. What's important here is the choice. We're going to do on change client script, right? It allows to, when the field changes, then we apply our script, right? So in the field is the category field, and whatever documentation is important. It's important to update a little bit of what your client script does. It helps you find them also when you have a lot of them, right? When you're getting started, it's not that many, but it could become cumbersome a little bit when you're looking for your data. So the first thing we're going to take a look is um, the value, right? We're going to check into the new value, right? Into what is it assigned to. So bear with me here. So if new value is equal, remember we looked that up. So it's hardware. Um, we're going to assign this. This is a client script, so we could use the G form, right? That set value. You need the value of the field that you're going to change. In this case, it's the assignment group, comma, and then the value that you want to give out, right? So we're going to, the name of the group is technical support. We'll come back to this later, but just to give you a little bit of a heads up on what happens here, right? So, and what we could do is else if, right? So if it's database, so the new value is database, then we assign it to the database team. Same deal here. Um, if it's equal, right? Database, open your parentheses here. Close it, put it up again, and then G form that set value. Again, it's the same field, right? We're looking at the assignment group. And remember, this is a reference field that we are changing. And this is important later on. It's gonna give us an error. So I just want to show you that it's one of the mistakes that sometimes the people make when using like a G form instead of value. When you're working with reference fields, um, you need more than the name of that field. So, and I'll show you that later. Um, Else, right? One of the things we're gonna do is we're gonna clear the value if it's not database or hardware. That way, we allow the user to choose what they want, right? So, and you again, you form that clear value and then the assignment group for that. It's simple. It's there. And it works pretty. This is a pretty simple client script, but it's just a quick one to get you guys started, so you can take a look at, and then come back to it, right? And I'm doing this again. I'm doing this a little bit on purpose here. I'm using the actual name of the group, right, to set up the assignment group, because this is something that I see people make a lot. Because this works when you're using a string type of field, right? A field, a string choice, whatever, where you use the actual name. But on reference fields, it's important that a sysid is taken into account, right? So let's test this out so you can see what the error that I was talking about. We're just creating a new incident ticket here, right here. So if we go to the category that we updated with the hardware, you can see how it does the assignment group technical support. But then look at that, there's no preview available, right? Even though it populated that field with the text that we gave her, there is no, right? And then it clears because it's not database with that. So now you see database. As you can see, go try to create a ticket. This should fail, even though everything looks like it's working, but it should give us a failure, right? When you save it, you see that it says match not found, reset to the original. So basically it did not include that that incident record in there. Going back to it, and you could like spend some time, right? Because everything looked like it worked. Go back to the list. We're gonna take a look at this incident, right? There's no new incident, no new record was inserted. So that was one of the things that I wanted to show, right? Because this is a reference field, it comes from another table. You either need to do some glide API to find the actual record sysID and add it in there. But again, you're gonna see that it's gonna be a failure for that, and it's not gonna work. And the reason why that happens is because a reference field, you need the sysID of the record that you are setting. And it's something to keep in mind when you're doing that. You can see the error right there. It says match not found, reset to the original. So even though it updated the assignment group with the text that we put in there, it is not expecting the name of that field to be added to this ticket, right? So so what we're going to do is we're going to go back. Hey, so here it is again. So one of the things that I've done is I reopened the client script. So what we're going to do is we're going to take a look at it again. As I mentioned before, one of the things that happened. So let me just update this here. But basically, because it's a reference field, it's looking for the sysID of that record, right? So let me just do this again, right? So we try to create a ticket, change it, update it, right? To that, and it should generate a failure. So when we do that, and you see there's no preview available, right? Even though it has the right name, it doesn't have the right identifier for that particular record, which is on the sys underscore user group table. So what we're going to do is we're just going to reopen, and we're going to change the value. Instead of using the name, we're going to use the sysID. So let me just click here and look for the database group. We're going to open that as well, and we're just going to extract the sysID of that record. So here we have the technical support group. Copy the sysID. We'll bring it over, replace it, copy and paste. You can use other ways to find the record without having to But I'm just to keep it simple and short, I'm just going directly since we're only dealing with those two groups. So I'm just selecting the actual sysid and use it directly on the script. Probably not the best way to do it, but since it's only two groups we're talking about here, and it's simple, right? Instead of having to programmatically look up in those tables and find the groups that we want, which we could do that. And we'll do that in another video, right? So again, I'm just adding this because I may post the code. And we're using the sysid from the record directly on that sysid group table. So now you can see here, what we're going to do is we change it to everything else stays the same, right? What I'm gonna do is just create a brand new record to force it to insert the record in there. So this should work now, right? So we go hardware. Now it says technical support. Look, I'm gonna do the preview. Now we get the record, right? Because it's finding the records on that table. That's how we know that it's working. Even though before it gave us the right name, but it wasn't actually finding the record. We're just updating that with the text that we provided, and that would have worked if that was a string regular text type of field. That script would have worked if we did that the way we did it, right? So as you can see here, the code is there, everything is there. We just clean it up, right? So if it's equal hardware, we assign it to the technical support team. This is the sysid of that record. Else, if the value is database, right, we will assign that to the that's the sysid of the database group on the sys underscore user sys underscore group. And it's important to know these tables, right? The names of them. If you are taking the test and studying for that, you will need that information. And then we just clear the value if it's not in there. So it's one of those things that we have. Now we have the client script working. So in a summary here quickly, one of the things that we need is that you need to make sure that you know the table that you're working on, the field that you're targeting, right? An onChange script and client script. You need to have the field that's changing, and you need to have the value, right? And remember, if it's a choice value, you need to make sure that it's the actual value of that choice, not the display value for that, in order to that to work. And remember, if you are targeting a reference field on another table, which is the assignment group, you need to use the sysid of that record in order to be able to assign it, right? Again, we quickly went and grabbed the two sysid for the two groups, right? Because it's just two groups that we're dealing with here. Is very it's only two choices that we're working with, right? But if it was more choices, the best probably would have been to be able to use a more dynamic approach to that. So again, thank you for your time. I hope you enjoyed this video and continue with your studies. Thank you very much.